Another helpful method is to begin meditation with a happy mood, with no object in view except that of the feeling of happiness in the heart. This can be created in many ways through the imagination and maintained throughout the duration of the meditation. Happiness, being the nature of the self, facilitates the approach to it, provided the mind is kept easy, thought-free, and alert without self-assertiveness. The mental and physical relaxation which precedes sleep is also felt here, but without its companion of laziness. This should be held on to for as long a time as possible, and whenever a thought appears, it should be immediately checked in order to prevent a return to thinking and feeling. A conscious, thought-free, and happy alertness is the principal ingredient of this method, and when made firm by practice, it will eventually turn out to be the very consciousness of the quest. If a blank state supervenes in meditation, it should be ignored and not dwelt upon, for it will dissipate in the course of the practice. The thought of the blank is more harmful to the meditation than the blank itself. This approach of reality from bliss is very powerful. Sri Ramana Maharshi takes the search for the root of the I sense to yield the best results, and so it has proved to many of his disciples to be true. It is based on the undeniable fact of one's own existence, which is self-evident, and as existence is by its very definition eternal and absolute, tracing one's I to its source is bound to reveal its truth. The common man identifies this I with the body and becomes inextricably involved in the complex problems of the body. But the seeker has since a long time detached himself from the grossest form of this identification, as is proved by his spiritual urge. When he appears before the Guru and determines to dedicate himself to the life of the spirit, it is obvious that his body-I relation has become attenuated enough to break down when persistently challenged by inquiry and inner investigation, which in this school consists of self-inquiry of who am I? The knot which ties the one to the other grows looser as the seeker's attention is more and more diverted from the insentient body to the nature of his sentient I. This inquiry, vichara, which is associated with Maharshi, when thoroughly mastered and intelligently applied, acts in two ways. By meditation, it wards off all other thoughts and retains the mind's purity. And by analysis and reflection, it exposes the insentience and transience of the body, as contrasted with the infinite intelligent I, which pervades it as life and consciousness. As the water in which a sponge has been soaked alone remains after the sponge is removed, so does the intelligent pervader of the body alone remain when the body or body thought is cut down by the dual process of vichara and meditation. This approach to the Absolute is from the sat, or being existence aspect. There is yet another method which is used in meditation by the few who cannot straightaway begin other direct methods, namely breath control or pranayama. A vast literature has been written on this method, with which, however, this yoga does not concern itself, except for the sole purpose of stabilizing the mind. It is a proven fact that breathing and thinking function simultaneously in the waking state, so that if the breath is controlled by special exercise, the thinking faculty follows suit as a matter of course. With alternate inhaling and exhaling, there comes in between them a short period of rest called kumbhaka, which secures a corresponding rest in the mind and which by practice can be lengthened at will to bring the attention to a focus from which meditation can start on its own. This is the strict use that the meditative yogi makes of pranayama. If he goes much farther than this, or fails to resort to meditation, he ceases to be a true yogi, but a digressor into practices which lead to unpredictable ends. The foregoing few methods of meditation are, let it be clearly understood, only mere hints to the spiritual aspirant to include in his own peculiar approach. Hence are also the Guru's directions. Meditation being the spontaneous urge of the external man to surrender himself, his thoughts and feelings, to the eternal in him, is purely individual, so that it may be truly said that meditation has as many forms as there are meditators. It may even begin with an external worship, devotional outpourings, and gradually mellowing down to the point where thoughts are suspended, including that of the worshipped object, leaving the yogi's own self alone as the ultimate residue. In all cases, the external worship has eventually to turn upon itself and become self-worship, which is the highest bhakti, or para bhakti. It has to be remembered that one and only one method should be used at a time, or else the yogi will be completely baffled. If he is in doubt about the advantages of his approach, he should try the one that he thinks suits him best. Give it a fair trial, and then abandon it, should it prove unsuitable, till he finally stumbles on the best and easiest. Generally, yogis find their own form of meditation almost from the start, as naturally as free water finds its own level by the immutable natural law. As it states in the Bhagavad Gita, yoga killeth all pain for him who is regulated in eating and leisure, regulated in working, regulated in sleeping and waking. When his subdued mind is fixed in the self, free from longing for desirable objects, then he is said to be harmonized.